And this is my presentation on cholets. So what are they and what is a typical cholet? So the cholets are very interesting buildings, and they're usually homes or businesses or other spaces that have a unique design and are usually really colorful, as you can see in the images here. You can see the inside of one. So they signify a lot in the Bolivian culture, where they're signifying the permanence and how they're unplanned, and the like celebrating their their heritage. So it's also they're celebrating their indigenous background and how they made the capital their home, and it's also signifies hard work and dedication. So these buildings are usually designed by the owners, and they the floors are structured so that usually on the bottom floor they have like a business so that they can actively make money, and then the second and third floors are usually a space that they can rent out, like a ballroom or a place where you can have weddings or something like that. And then you have like storage areas, and then you have like maybe like that you can rent out, and then the top floor is usually where the owners would live. So it would be a house, a business, and another source of money, which is also very interesting. So who is Freddie Mamani? So he's a very interesting man. He was a self-taught artisan in the beginning. He went to a college for engineering, and he's very he was very in tune with his heritage. Went back to school to be an architect, um, and he started building these buildings to celebrate his heritage, and he went against the norm in architecture, creating something different, beautiful, and unique for their culture. And he's built over 60 buildings for them in La Paz. Very interesting. So what's the relationship between the new Bolivian elite and the Neo-Andean architecture? So the Bolivian elite, or the wealthy class, were really focused on the trends set from the rest of the world. So their architecture would be really beautiful, but it wasn't very original. So they were born in the city, and so they had their own taste, much like we have in the United States, where you have a lot of groupthink in cities, and they usually looked down on the Cholets, and they didn't understand the new architecture because it was new thought that they weren't used to. So then the difference between that and the Neo-Andean architecture was basically in the thought process. And the Neo-Andean architecture was focused on their heritage, on kind of looking back and celebrating that they are different. And they also were focused on women's independence and their roles in the urban economy, which was very interesting to learn about, and that the feelings that it evokes, and with the colors and the traditions. So Juan Carlos Calderon was in the documentary that we watched, and his take. He's a very well-known architect in Bolivia and Latin America. He really respected Mamani's work, but he basically was of the opinion that Mamani's work wasn't really necessarily architecture because of the other places that it would hold in it, and where he thought they were beautiful and decorative, he just didn't hold it to the same standard as other architecture and other works. And it was a very similar posture to that of Gaston Galero, and he also thought that Mamani was a good designer, and his works provoked thoughts and feelings, and they were still beautiful, but he did not think that they were necessarily a good piece of architecture. And me personally, I kind of disagree with both of them because to me, architecture is a lot on the feelings that it evokes. So when you see like the churches and the cathedrals and the big buildings in architecture that like I know of, and it makes it really special, like what it represents. So that's my opinion on what posture that I agree with. Um, and that's the end of my presentation. I really enjoyed learning about the Cholets this week, and thank you for watching.